New York Giants traveling to Seattle all the way across the country to take on the Seattle Seahawks in the 425 game, one of the 425 games. Matchup that matters. What do you got?
The Seattle offensive line against the Giants defensive line. The Giants are ninth in pass rush grade. This is the strength of this Giants team. It's their defensive line. They have 13 sacks. They're top 10 in most major pass rushing statistics. Dexter Lawrence this season, 89.9 PFF grade, second most among interior defensive linemen. And he's got the sixth best pass rushing grade among interior defensive linemen. So you got him, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, you got Brian Burns. Again, if there is a bright spot on this New York Giants roster, it's their defensive line. And how is Seattle going to contend with that? And help Geno Smith continue just this kind of tear that he's on. Geno Smith is playing extraordinarily well right now, and it's I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that he's being protected.
I think that's I've talked about the defensive line for the New York Giants being a big time matchup for them multiple times this season. I didn't want to be the one to do it this time, so I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you were the one who pointed out.
Always.
Seattle's wide receivers. I think their matchup against the Giants defensive backs are a big one here because Drew Phillips has missed some time through injury already this season. He is by far their highest graded secondary player. And there's not another regular secondary member of the Giants coverage that's grading above a 67.0. And Tyler Nubin, I think, is that player who's like right around 67. And then most of the players are somewhere in the 50s. It just has not been good for this group. They've really struggled to cover, like I said, outside of rookie Drew Phillips when he has been playing in the slot. And it's been impressive when he's been out there, but they need him to get healthy. And this game against the Seahawks, it is that struggling secondary going up against some really good football players. Metcalf, 215 yards against single coverage. That's third most in the NFL. Jackson Smith-Njigba, he has been on a tear as a true slot receiver. 29 targets in the slot, first in the NFL, 21 catches. That's first in the NFL, 196 yards. It's fourth, 11 catches, gaining a first down from that slot position. Only Chris Godwin has more than that, and he has 4 catches of 15 yards or more, which is a top 5 number for players in the slot. So Smith-Njigba really coming into his own as that slot receiver there for that offense. So this offense is cooking. The wide receivers know exactly what they need to do. Geno Smith has a lot of confidence in them, and I feel like this is a bad matchup for the New York Giants, and unfortunately for them, I think it could be a recipe for the Seattle Seahawks to score 30 plus this game with how they can throw it through the air. So what about a plus factor for you? What do you got in this game?
Well, speaking of bad matchups, you're going to need to ride Devin Singletary, and I don't know that Seattle's the one to do it against because they're top 10 in the run defense grade for PFF. They're top 10 in total EPA per play versus the run, and forced 2 fumbles, which is tied for the league lead. So this is a really formidable run defense to go against. And Devin Singletary, I think, is the key to unlocking this New York Giants offense. If you could even say that, especially now that Malik Neighbors looks like he's not going to play. Brian Dable came out yesterday and said that he's still in the early stages of clearing concussion protocol. And when you played last Thursday and you're still in the early stages, that does not bode well for his availability this week. So that's going to be something that the Giants' only hope offensively is going to be Devin Singletary, but it just so happens he's going to be running into one of the best run defenses in the league.
Yeah, speaking of guys who aren't going to be out there along the same light, Malik Neighbors not practicing again today. Where's the football go, right? I just said that you're probably going to be in a shootout with this Seattle Seahawks passing attack.
Yeah.
And if there's no Neighbors, it's really hard to think that the Giants are going to be able to keep up. Right now, Neighbors has a 32.1 threat percentage. Now, I will say this. Wan'Dale Robinson is also getting the ball at a very high clip. He's at 29.2%. That's much higher than I thought whoever was in second place behind Neighbors was going to be. But they do like going to Wan'Dale Robinson. But the difference is Wan'Dale Robinson's average step to target is 4.8 yards. That's got to be, I don't have all the wide receivers in front of me, but that's got to be one of the lowest numbers in the NFL. So even if Wan'Dale Robinson is getting the ball, are you pushing the ball the way you need to down the field with him as your focal point, your wide receiver one? If Darius Slayton or I guess like you throw Theo Johnson in there as well, like if one of these guys can really step up for them, then you might have a couple of different options. Maybe you could keep up with this group, but it's hard to put together a script where the Giants are able to keep up with what the Seattle Seahawks want to do. It's just it's hard for me to find a reality where that's going to be the case.